What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this particular video, we're covering a particular style of accord for fragrances that's very near and dear to my heart. One of my favorite types of accords, the smoky accord, that incensey smell. Whether it's created from the smoky tone of a guaiac wood, frankincense, olibanum resin, the more resinous take on incense, a straight up smoke accord, an earthy smoky vetiver, and so on, as long as it creates some sort of smokiness. I've narrowed it down to 10 of my personal favorites, and I want to discuss those with you guys because they're just absolutely perfect for this time of year. At the recording of this, it's fall, and I'm starting to get a little bit of winter weather actually as well. So let's talk about them. Stay tuned. Starting with my absolute favorite fragrance in this line. The whole line's good. As a whole, it's great. Garland did wonderful with this. We are talking about Garland LIntense. This is the older bottle. That's why it's blacked out. Now it's a clear translucent with a dark colored juice. But as far as I know, it hasn't been reformulated. It's the same thing. Here, you get a little bit of that sweet cherry almond smell that the Eau de Parfum has. Even though I don't remember cherry being listed in the notes, you will smell it a little bit. A bit more of a soft, kind of buttery leather. And then there's a particular smoke accord here that really stands out, darkens this fragrance up, really gives it this rich, kind of mysterious tone to the fragrance. Gorgeous in the cooler weather, especially in the evenings. This is a magnificent smoky fragrance. One of my absolute favorites, hence the reason it's in this video. And I felt like it was the right fragrance to set the tone for this video because it is just masterfully done. I know there's a lot of people that prefer the Eau de Parfum, or there's some that their favorite's the Extreme. Well, for me personally, the LIntense is hard to beat. If I could only keep one out of this line, it's definitely the LIntense, and it's mainly because it's just so damn smoky, leathery, and sweet. It's just beautiful. Let's go on L'Homme Idéal LIntense. Next is a very smoky, slightly medicinal Oud Tobacco fragrance. It's actually the name of the fragrance from Montale. It's called Oud Tobacco. This one is magical. Now, some of you may have heard me describe this opening before, where it kind of has that Flintstone vitamin smell, that kind of medicinal children's chewable multivitamin. Yep, there it is. Now, once it's on skin, as it starts to dry, it's a very earthy tone to this tobacco. Like I said, the oud's more on the medicinal, slightly pencil shaving dry wood. Like it transitions. It starts off a little medicinal at the top, transitions into a more dry pencil shavings type of oud smell, dry wood, and there's a lovely smoky tone to this fragrance. I don't even recall if there's a smoky note like incense in this. It may just be the tobacco being that earthy and smoky tone. Like I said, I don't recall the note breakdown exactly, but it's definitely smoky on my skin. Super, super strong fragrance. If you're a fan of tobaccos and you don't really want that challenging of an oud, but you'd like to kind of dabble your toe in it, this might be a good fragrance to get a sample of. It's a not really new release, but relatively new. It came out in the last 2 years, I believe. It's a lovely fragrance, and it's a monster in performance. I've actually gotten a few compliments, most notably, I've told this story before, from a cashier and bagger at a local Kroger, and they actually brought up how smoky it was on my skin. So you never know what's going to captivate who at what time, because this doesn't necessarily sound like the most compliment-getting of fragrances, but I have a situation where I can say it absolutely is. This stuff smells magical. It's not the most challenging fragrance out there, but it's also not the most mass appealing. But as far as oud and tobacco is concerned, it's kind of falls somewhere in between on what I would consider easy to wear and challenging to wear. Definitely pretty good quality, smoky and earthy. It's just beautiful. Montale Oud Tobacco. Next, this one's very sweet and smoky. There's this beautiful dates note in here that gives this fruity sweetness, heavy dose of incense. It literally smells like smoky dates is the easiest way to describe. Dolce & Gabbana, the one Luminous Night, one of the Middle Eastern exclusives from Dolce & Gabbana in this line. Very long lasting, not the absolute loudest fragrance I own, but it's definitely very present on my skin. Like I said, it just comes down to being that simple. It's smoky dates, this fruity sweet smell. A little bit medicinal. There's a little bit of a medicinal tone here, but the incense, it just stands out so much on my skin. There's a little bit of a woody tone. There's a little bit of an herbaceous feel on my skin, believe it or not. I don't recall the note breakdown exactly, but I get a little bit of an kind of earthy herbal feel as it starts to dry on my skin, but that incense never goes away, and the sweetness never seems to fade either. It's kind of linear in that way. It doesn't change drastically as it starts to dry. Admittedly, what's in the opening blast isn't exactly what the deep dry down towards the end of the fragrance's life is going to be, but it doesn't change drastically. Like I said, pretty linear and straightforward overall. So if you like the smell of dates, you'll like this one. If you like smoky incense, you'll like this one. If you don't like either of those, you'll hate it. But I definitely love it. It's good stuff. Not the easiest to get a sample of, but if you can try it, try it. Dolce & Gabbana The One, Luminous Night. Next is a much more mass-appealing fragrance that features an incense note. It's kind of got this smoky, ambery, vanillic tone to it. It is a hype beast in its own right. We're talking about Mercedes-Benz Club Black. Oh, this is some good stuff. A little bit of ambroxan to freshen it up and give it a little bit of push in its base. Beautiful fragrance. Like I said, this is probably the best affordable designer vanilla because it's designer level quality, even though it's a car company. Best designer vanilla out there, in my opinion. As far as affordable fragrances, there's more expensive designers that probably rival it and do a little bit better, but as far as mass appeal, ease of wear, likability, performance, price, all the things that matter to most, this one's very hard to beat. This is a beautiful fragrance. It's not overly smoky, but it's noticeably smoky. As long as it's noticeably smoky, it's easy to captivate me with some of these fragrances, and Mercedes-Benz Club Black definitely does a good job of that. If you haven't tried this one yet, you're doing yourself a disservice. If you watch and or read a lot of video and written reviews across social media about this fragrance, you've heard some of the hype. It's beloved for the most part, and the hype is real in this one, people. Definitely get yourself a sample if you can. Try it some kind of way. I would advise blind buying. Definitely, like I said, try to sample, because it's really good stuff. Mercedes-Benz Club Black. A very special occasion type of fragrance for me. This features incense, spices, and medicinal oud. Very near and dear to my heart. It's my favorite from the brand. It is Amouage Epic Man. Big fan of this fragrance. Last time I wore it was for Thanksgiving last year, which is right around the corner of the recording this video. Might be my choice again this year, to be honest, because I'm a big fan of this. Conversation starter. Not your average everyday fragrance that most people are used to smelling. So in my experience, it definitely sparks a conversation because it's on the unique side for what the average person has smelled. Like I said, if you're deep into this game, you're big into this hobby, may not surprise you to come across this scent profile. Maybe like, oh, I'm surprised you're wearing that, but I know the fragrance. Whereas say you come across your mother-in-law or a friend you haven't seen in a while, they probably haven't smelled anything like this, because this is a very special house in my personal opinion. One of my favorite niche houses on the market, my favorite Middle Eastern brand, and this has that Middle Eastern feel. Like I said, spices, incense, it's a little bit on the dry and earthy side, but still has this medicinal tone, kind of a cleaner smell in some ways, as strange as that may sound, to the oud in the opening. It settles in beautifully, performance is fantastic, and like I said, I hold this one in high regard, so I only wear it in certain situations. So this, I may never go through this 100 ml because I wear it so rarely, but I'll tell you what, I absolutely adore this scent profile and love every second of when I do wear it. It's Amouage Epic Man. This next one's not for the faint of heart. Very polarizing, not for everyone. The best release of the year, in my opinion, from a creativity standpoint from Happyland Studio. The best release of the year as far as wearability is the newest release, but Inlandish from Happyland Studio. This is a very situational fragrance. This straight up smells like ashy, smoky tones, burning leaves and wood at a campfire. Super smoky, in your face, rough, dry, not a big compliment getter. This is a statement maker. This is a conversation piece. This is very niche within a niche, if you will. And performance is ridiculous. You can get away with one of those big old sprays. It's the equivalent of 2 average size sprays from another fragrance, but the potency of this fragrance is on another level. It is surrounding and engulfing the air around me right now. It's all I smell, and I've sprayed some pretty powerful fragrances in the last few minutes leading up to this. It's not for everyone. Absolutely not a safe blind buy. Get a sample of this one from Happyland and try it. If you're looking for just that oddball, kind of strange fragrance that'll make a statement, a good conversation piece that you're definitely not going to smell on anyone else unless they have this fragrance. You should give this a go. Think fragrances like Amouage's Overture Man, that just ashy, smoky, dry, rough, slightly animalic, super crazy masculine type of scent profile. Doesn't smell exactly like that, but that's the main fragrance that this reminds me of. This one's special. I can see some people hating this fragrance, but I can also see a lot of people really appreciating this for what it is, like I do. Let's check this one out if you want a challenge. That's just amazingly smoky. Try Happyland Inlandish. This next one, there's a few different things that make it on the smoky side. There's some earthy tones to the tobacco. There is incense in here. There's some fresh greens. There's some dense greens. There's citruses that I don't really get much of in the top, but it's overall smoky green and earthy is the main things I get from Roja Parfum's Apex. This is the Eau de Parfum. Yes, I do love the Parfum, but this one's just a little bit more on the smoky side on my skin. This is some really, really good stuff. Another statement maker. Man, that's some call mass appealing, and I think it's more of a challenge than that personally. I don't think it's very challenging, but I definitely don't see this being for everyone because it's much more earthy, smoky than some people like. Right into what I enjoy for this time of year for sure. I like dense greens, I like spices, I like smokiness. Big fan of stuff like that, as well as some dense florals this time of year. This one fits right in my wheelhouse, and it checks off a few of those, the dense greens, the smokiness, the earthy tones. It's beautiful. Like I said, you'll get that tobacco, but it's more of a dry, earthy tobacco, and I actually think it helps assist that incense note, the frankincense that's in here, to make it that much more smoky. On my skin, it really comes out, that smoky tone. Just a lovely fragrance. Performance is stellar on this. It's definitely on the pricey side. Sample first, not blind buy safe once again. Very expensive, never blind buy a very expensive fragrance. This goes for 350 bucks or something like that, but it's definitely worth trying. If anything I said here sounds interesting in any way, shape, or form, or check out my full review on it, for example, for more details. This is really good stuff. This one very much impressed me, and I'm definitely on board with it. If you want smoky, you want green, you want earthy, you want wow, check out Roja Parfum's Apex Eau de Parfum. Next, this one may surprise a few of you, but some of you it absolutely will not, because this has kind of been my favorite fragrance for this particular fall. I like this more than my actual bottle of Creed Aventus. It is Armaf's Club de Nuit Intense Man, but this is the limited edition Parfum. Very dark and smoky, dense. The lemon, it still has that sharp lemon at the top that the original was known for, but it's not as harsh, and that's what I like the most. Because I really dig the added lemon that they put in here versus just straight up a clone of Creed Aventus. I love that added sharp lemon. It kind of changes it and really suits my taste a little bit more than even Creed Aventus does. While this isn't on the same quality level as the Creed, I just get more enjoyment out of this. My wife is a big fan of it. It performs great on my skin. It's very dark, rich, and deep and smoky. Love that about it. You get all the citruses. It's smoky, fruity smells, basically. Because it has the pineapple, it has the citruses, it has that lemon I spoke of, with a heavy dose of that birch. It really comes across very, very smoky on my skin. And it had to be in this video. This was actually one of the first fragrances I grabbed, even though it's latter in the, as far as down in the video, it was one of the first ones I grabbed because it's kind of a poster child for this topic for me, because I've been wearing it quite a bit over the last few months. Even in the summer I was rocking this one, because it just does it for me. And like I said, when the wife enjoys it, it makes it even easier to grab. I don't know how easy it would be to get a sample and try this, but it's my favorite version of Club de Nuit Intense Man. This is the limited edition Parfum. Next, this is one of the more intoxicating smoky fragrances in this video. It's a nice ambery tone, an earthy herbal cannabis note that doesn't give too heavy of a marijuana smell. It's more of the dry leaf versus, you know, the ready-to-smoke bag of marijuana, which some of you may be thinking. There's a beautiful, sweet and precious oud and a very deep, dense, rich, smoky tone to Narcotica by Narcotica. This is a mesmerizingly delectable, delicious, and delightful, all of those words, scent profile. It's gorgeous. God, it's so good. The first time I smelled this was actually at Door Prestige in Glendale, California, which is the owners of the brand Narcotica. Shout outs to Joe and Adita. Lovely, wonderful people if you're in the Glendale area. Go get your nose on this. Sample it. You can get decants of different sizes from Door Prestige's website. It's an experience worth having. It's not a challenging oud in any way, shape, or form. It's not medicinal. It doesn't have that oud funk. It has this sweet warm wood oud smell to it. Think warm wood type of oud. Not funky in any way, but has a sweet tone to it. It's actually labeled as a precious oud, is the specific oud that Claude Deer used to perfume this. Very ambery, very warm and ambery, but the main things for me is this earthy, almost spiced green tone to the cannabis leaf that he used in here. And like I said, I think that assists the incense smoky note that's in that frankincense note that is in here, because it just has this dry but not too dry. Like, it's really hard to describe without you smelling it along with me explaining it to you. This is an olfactive experience worth having. Yes, I really enjoyed Dolce Diablo, their boozy gourmand that followed this. But to be honest with you, if you're just going to try one, this is the one. It's that damn good. Like I said, if you're in the Glendale, California area, get to Door Prestige, sample this. They have tester bottles on the counter. Or check online, get a 2 or 3 ml sample, whatever the smallest size is, spend a few bucks, and be wowed. I'm pretty confident you'll be wowed. Highly unlikely that if you're into fine fragrances, you won't like this. Especially if you like Smoky. It's Narcotica. There was a time when this fragrance was very, very hyped up. It's another smoky vanilla amber type of fragrance. A lot of creamy sandalwood here. It's a simplistic note breakdown. I basically just gave you the full note breakdown of Zadig and Voltaire. This is him. Like I said, the note breakdown is literally right there for you. Notes of grapefruit, vanilla, incense, and sandalwood. It does have an ambery smell to it, though, even though they don't list it on the side of the bottle. But it's more so sandalwood and incense, I would say, are the dominating notes that stand out. It's smoky, but it's not too smoky. Very noticeable, though. Very upfront in the scent profile. I believe there is more than just these 4 notes in here. Like I said, I do get an amber smell, which none of these notes really relate to amber, to be honest with you, to create an ambery type of accord. But this stuff is magnificent. Performance is above average. It's a little on the masculine side, but not so masculine that I don't think a lot of ladies couldn't pull this one off. It's more of a safe play as far as an incense dominant fragrance. Very designer type of price point, like mid $50, $60, $70 range. So it's not super cheap, but it's not super expensive. Kind of falls somewhere in the middle of kind of average, affordable, mid-level. And that's kind of what the scent profile is. You're going to get some good performance for the money. The quality is not on the heavily synthetic and cheap smelling side. It does smell of decent quality, and it doesn't smell like everything else. That's always an added bonus when it doesn't smell like everything else. This one's worth a sample. Again, I'm not sure how easy it is to get samples online, but it's worth a try, because it's had its share of hype and it's well deserved. Zadig and Voltaire, this is him. And one quick honorable mention here at the end for the real ones that watch the entire video. I would be remiss if I didn't at least bring this to your attention, because this is currently, completely biasedly, my favorite incense heavy fragrance that is up for pre-order right now. TLTG Reviews and Zaharoff Evening Mystique. This has notes of olibanum resin and frankincense, so you get the resinous balsamic side of the smoky incense as well as standalone frankincense. There's a beautiful powdery iris that has a little bit of a waxy tone due to the addition of the carrot seeds, clean creamy patchouli in the dry down, nice fresh spicy pop of coriander, and so on. It is available for pre-order right now. There's always a link in my video descriptions. If you're interested, now would be the time. And yes, that is a embossed and debossed metal plate. It's just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous fragrance. I can't wait for everybody to smell this. Thank you to everybody that has pre-ordered so far. But if you like smoky, if you like floral, like spicy, you're probably going to want to get this. Well, that was the 10 plus 1, technically, that I have for you today. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. So I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. What in this video have you tried? And of what you've tried, what do you think about it? I'd love to hear some of your opinions on some of these fragrances. Do you feel the same way I do? Are they just not for you? Do you like smoky fragrances as a whole? You probably do if you clicked on this video. And until next time, I will say if you get your hands on any of these and give them a spray now, very confident you'll thank me later. Have a good one, guys.